Welcome to the Gear Garage Live Show. This weekly YouTube show covers whitewater rafting, river safety,
oh God, I lost my paddle,
gear, and anything else Zach feels like rambling on about.
Well, welcome to the show, everybody. This is the Gear Garage Live Show. This is where I answer questions I get throughout the week. One of the reasons I started this show is because people will call me, email me, text me, basically woof me their questions about trips. And I unfortunately get pretty busy. So like right now, this morning, somebody called me to get advice on their private Middle Fork trip. And like, I'm very busy right now. And so I don't always have time to answer the questions. And it's very nuanced, like helping people answer questions about whether they should go or not go, what the flow is going to be, what the weather's going to be, is very complicated and nuanced, not just something I can answer in an email or on the phone. This show gives an opportunity for me to answer the question as best I can with aids. I can bring flow things up. I can bring stuff up and share it. And if you have a question, also interact and ask more questions and have other people from the audience add too, because I don't always know the answers. And so sometimes people in the audience can answer questions. So I've been thinking about this a lot. Like if you call me in my office right now to ask me a question, it's like calling an accountant in April for free tax advice. That accountant is going to be frustrated, just so you know. Like it's like you can, if they're your friend, you can call them maybe in like May and ask for free tax advice or free tax advice, but you shouldn't call them in April. And that's kind of how it is for me. Like I'm very busy right now. And so I don't have time to spend 45 minutes on the phone to help you plan your trip. And that's why one of the reasons I do the show is put this time aside to answer as many questions as I can, and also answer in a way that everybody can hear, right? I've answered the same question like 5 times in the past few days. Like, what's the flow in the Middle Fork going to be? Basically, or should I go, or should I deadhead? And so this is one repository for that question. You'll see the theme of the show is Middle Fork questions because there's a lot of them and I've been gone for a while. So with that opening, today we're talking about a couple things. I'm going to start with another resource I put together called Submarine Hole, which is, to those of you that know, that's a rapid on the Illinois, one of the more notorious rapids. But I've used it to create a message board. And the message board, it's at submarinehole.com. It has a few purposes. One, I think the main one is a place for professional river people and educators to have important conversations. And I have a lot of conversations with people. This is one place that we can have those conversations. As a sort of a side benefit, I also, if you look here, it says Middle Fork of the Salmon as a category. This is a place people can ask Middle Fork of the Salmon questions, and answers will just always exist. Again, when you call me or email me and I respond to just you get that answer. But if it can be asked in a public way, that can be shared with more people. It's searchable information. It's searchable answers to questions. So as a secondary thing, I've also created a private boater category. The goal of this is not a private boater forum. There's also already forums out there. And so I don't really want to have a private boater forum, but if there were questions, they would exist there. And they created a place to talk for rescue instructors to talk, river guides to talk, rowing school instructors to talk, and also just talk about gear, specifically river rescue gear, but maybe that will expand a bit. So if you have questions about the Middle Fork or private boating questions, throw them up here. It's a great way, especially when I'm gone. Like you'll see some of these questions I probably should have answered over a week ago, but I've just been gone. When I'm at an airport, I can quickly answer them publicly here. I just unfortunately can't respond to them one at a time by email, but I will respond to them here because the answers last forever. So anyway, that's a shout out for this new website I put together, and I'd encourage those of you watching, sign up, comment, add a question there. It's hopefully going to be a good resource for that. Okay, moving on. Let's get to questions. And I'm really excited about the last thing, which are containers for terrade, which has been my obsession for a while, but the past week I've been very obsessed with. So we'll get to that last. All right, first question. Looking for a source to buy new pins and clips. By the way, we love your videos. Yeah, me too. I'm looking for a source as well. I think, going back to here, I think that let's remove this. That Class 5 adventure gear sold them 5 river gear, I think is what it's called. I think he was selling them. I don't know if he is now. Here's his website. Sometimes he watches the show. Maybe he can pipe in. And if anybody else knows a place to get the, then please chime in. Accessories, pins and clips, right there. Boom. This isn't the style that I personally like. For those of you that know, I have one right here actually. I don't like. There's just too, in my opinion, there's just too many PVC pieces and complicated things, and I don't know. I'm not jazzed on that style. This is a style that I like that has the ball on top. The ball can come unscrewed. Some people don't like that. This is a bent one. I'm trying to fix it right now. But this style is hard to make because you have to. Oh, I see why it's bent. It's hard to make this bolt, whereas the bolt you can just buy at the store. So I think these ones are easier to make, but this is the one I personally prefer. Nobody makes this anymore. Maybe someday I'll make these personally. We'll see. I'm actually really enjoying manufacturing right now, so I might do it. But this is the only new ones I know of. And these plastic PVC things, I'm personally not really a fan, but it is what it is. So, all right, that's that question. Makita blower adapter. Will this also work for the Summit 2 valves? I have no idea what a Summit 2 valve is. I'm just going to tell you, and I get this question a lot. Will this work for that? Will this work for that? We make 4 of these adapters. Makita, DeWalt, Ryobi, Milwaukee. We make them 4 Lee-Field C7, D7 valves. What they say on the website. If I knew they worked for more things, I would put that on the website. They only work for what's on the website. Please don't buy them if you don't have those devices or you're using Lee-Field C7, D7, because we don't really do returns. So you're stuck with it. I'd rather you just not buy it. I don't know what that valve is. And so I'm sure they don't fit. Okay, here we go. This is a string of middle 4 questions that are about to come up back to back to back. I'm launching July 19th on a private trip and thinking about camps. The water will be low. What level do you start deadheading? First of all, I've been getting a rash of these questions, comments. The water will be low. The water will be low. Everybody tell me the water will be low. If those of you who watched the live show, remember a couple weeks ago, I had several things. The water will be low. What do we do? We're all going to die, right? Well, let's go look at what the water did last week, because we don't know what the water is going to do. I think everybody's making a lot of assumptions about river levels, but if you look at the water flow, you can see the end of June, it went above 3 feet. I was on the river then when it happened. We don't know for sure what the water is going to do. And my general answer to all these middle 4 questions, I'm going to make a general answer to everybody. You know what the water might do, but this is nature. And so it can be much higher. It can be much lower. And what we learned, it can also be miserably cold and rainy. It can snow. It can be on fire. I personally think the water levels should be your least of your issues, right? Like if you apply for a middle 4 permit, in my opinion, and this is going to sound, some of you might get mad at me for saying this. I'm going to say it anyway. If you apply for a middle 4 permit, you should have the skills to run it at low water and high water and without blinking. If you apply for a middle 4 permit and you expect it to be just perfect levels and like, if it's not that, you have to do a ton of emails and research. And what are we going to do? We're all going to die. I think that's a problem. And so this is just my style of boating though. I don't want to do a bazillion hours of research before I go boating. I'm going to check the flow a couple days before I go and act accordingly. But a lot of the emails I'm getting are you planning weeks ahead of time and making assumptions on what the river is going to do. And it may not do that. The bigger issues, I would say the things you should be spending I'm going to humbly say you should be spending your time on about whether the river is going to be high, going to be low, whatever, is do I have the right first aid kit? Do I have the right team? Do I have a repair kit? Do we have cold weather gear? Do we have tarps? Are the tarps seam sealed? Do we have a hypo kit? Do we have phone numbers and to call out for evacuations? Are we trained in medical protocols? Like, the flow is going to be what the flow is going to be. You don't know the future. You have some ideas, and I can tell you what I think is going to happen, but I've learned that I can't predict flows and I can't predict weather. Somebody asked me what the weather, like the other day, what the weather's going to be in 10 days. What? I have no idea. Like, you can look on the internet. So, I all of these questions I'm getting about what's the flow going to be, it's going to be low water. The water will be low. You don't know the water is going to be low. This is 13 days away. We could have another storm. It could be 3 feet again. It probably won't be. And what you think is low is different than what I think is going to be low. I'm going to say low is below like 1.8 feet. It's not going to be below 1.8 feet. It's probably going to be, I don't know, like 2.2. I don't know, 2.1, 2. I don't know. It's going to be some level, probably 2 feet. I'm going to call that quite nice. And so when you ask me about levels, I have a different threshold for what is high and low than most of you have. I also think the high water starts about 5 feet, where a lot of you will be, no, high water is 6.5 feet. Well, at 5 feet, the river's super dangerous. So when the river's super high, everybody's like, oh, 5's fine, no big deal. I know that the moves aren't that hard, but if you swim, it's very dangerous. And so I say high water starts a lot earlier than most people. So I'm launching July 19th on private trip. Camps. What level we start deadheading? So the level we start deadheading, and I get asked the same question a lot. When do we deadhead? Deadheading isn't just a level. It depends on the guests, their enthusiasm, their ability levels. It depends on the guides, how tired I think they are, and how much enthusiasm they have to run the whole river. It depends on is a storm coming in. It depends on like, do I have to book flights ahead of time? Just a million factors. We were gonna deadhead July 11th, and after this rainstorm, changed our mind, right? And now we're not. This next trip. Well, I have a July 19th trip. Also, you're launching on July 19th. We have July 19th too. We are deadheading that trip, not because of water levels, because I had to make a decision about this like 6 weeks ago, because the rooms in Stanley are full, and I have people joining that trip that couldn't get rooms in Stanley. So I have half of my group in Salmon, half of my group in Stanley. I have to decide where they're launching at 6 weeks ago. So I decided 6 weeks ago we're deadheading July 19th. I'm not making the decision based on flows. I'm making the decision based on the rooms in Stanley being available for our guests. So it's a very complicated decision that depends on a ton of factors, not just a number. With that said, I'm going to tell you 2.2 feet is when we start thinking about deadheading. And I would say 2 feet, I'm pretty confident we're going to deadhead, but we've run from the top lower. Full trip with guests. I think of the lowest I've done with guests is 188 from the top. And I know outfitters who, I was on a trip where an outfitter deadheaded at 2.6, the June 25th trip. There was somebody deadheading at 2.6 feet, and they were getting to camp very early. And I know, Steve Zettle's company, they never deadhead. They launched from the top no matter what. So there's not an exact, I can't give you an exact answer. It depends on so many factors. But if you want my answer, my quick answer, so I told you very complicated, nuanced all over all the different thinking things. The general answer is 2.2 feet. You start thinking about it. 2 feet, you're probably going to deadhead, but it's somewhere in that range, depending on a lot of factors. Okay, cool. And you don't have to pick camps yet. So like, you have time. Like I picked the camps for July 11th the other day. I'm committed. Like I said, I'm committed to July 19th flying in because of the hotel situation. But so I'm going to pick, I would pick my camps in a few days, but I would wait as long as I could to make that decision, to maybe like a week before, to see what actually happens. How fast does the river actually drop? How much of this rain and moisture is going to keep the river highish for a while? I'm going to talk to the people on the trip. What do you guys want to do? Do you want to have long days, or do you want to get, what do you want to do? Okay. Sean saying, Only apply for a river you have the skills for. I'm seeing this more and more. People are just everybody's applying, and the and a lot of people are needing a lot more hand holding before the trip because they don't have the skills to do it, and on the trip making mistakes and then on the skills to do it. Hey, what's up, Willie Bum Bum? Yeah, good to hear from you. All right, cool. Move on. First time R2ing. Howdy. First off, thank you much to you and your team for providing such awesome content. Cool, thanks. I have a thank you. That's really nice to hear. I appreciate it. I have a 14-foot Diablo. It's a sweet boat that I was going to take the frame off and install thwarts and play around in R2 rig. I would consider myself a class 3.5 boater, but zero experience in R2 realm. Any resource or words of wisdom you recommend as I get started in the style of rafting? Was 14 too big to pull this off? Planning to go down class 3 around the Boise area. No, 14, I mean, it's a little big, but you can R2 it. I mean, it'd be fun. Yeah. I would just go do class. You're doing it. Just go have fun. Get a friend. Go do something you know is in your wheelhouse that you can do really easily. Learn surf. Try to surf that thing. That's how you learn a lot. And then just slowly ratchet it up. And I don't think the 14-foot Diablo is the ideal R2 boat. Probably pretty far from ideal R2 boat, but it'll work. And then maybe you'll be like stoked on it and, get what I think is the best R2 boat out there personally is like a 13-foot air, like a 130D. But, you might get like a little, one of those new Sotar boats that are tiny and light to be great for R2ing. Willie Bum Bum is saying a 12-foot paddle cat. I'm not a paddle cat guy, but people love paddle cats, but for now, that 14-foot Diablo, you can R2 it. I bet the staircase section should be fun to do on the South Payette. And as you get better, it'd probably be fun to do in the canyon, the upper section. I think the 14-foot is going to be just so forgiving. You'll just plow over stuff. It's maybe won't be as fun as a smaller boat where you're more maneuverable and like challenged a little bit more. The 14-foot will just go over holes and like have no problem. Hope that helps. You'll have fun. That sounds great. All right. Blue Groover Chemicals. Aha. I know you said it before, but I can't find it. Thanks for asking. The chemicals we use in our groovers, I keep this on my desk. Lives on my desk. It is the RTB 780. It says the company is called, I don't know, Apricot Blue, Microbiologic LLC. You can see that, Microbiologic LLC. And yeah, I keep this here because I forget all the time too. So this is what we use. I think it works great. Yeah, I hope that helps. Can you start selling them on River Hardware? I can't. I mean, I'm not going to. I don't even know if they sell them that way, but it's a bacterial culture. It has a shelf life. Like it's just not something I'm ready to manage. But thanks for mentioning River Hardware. Which is good timing because we're on a commercial break. Let's talk about River Hardware really quick. I know a lot of you are probably tired of me talking about it, but it is a website that or a store that I've created that I really enjoy, and we sell just things I think are awesome. So if you want a river knife, click on River Knives. These are the ones I'd recommend. If there were other good ones, I would put them there. There's good ones. I just think these are the best. And if you want one that's affordable or not affordable, they're both here, right? If you want the best rescue gear, this is it. This is an item. I think they're $18. This is the best Prusik, in my opinion, by far. Far. It's $18. Everybody here, if you don't have these in your kits, your wrap kits or whatever you want to call them, pin kits, you should. You should order them from me because I make a few bucks. You don't have to, but this should be the gold standard for everybody. Anything else is in my opinion, inferior. The only thing that maybe somebody can make a case that's better is the hollow block. I think it's stronger, holds a little bit better. I just like the auto block a little more. But everything we sell here is just like good stuff. This is the good stuff. If you want the cheap stuff, go somewhere else. We don't sell it. But if you want the stuff that's costs a little bit more, but like high quality, does a good job, it's here. And just all kinds of things. I just carry things I really, really believe in, and I'll go track them down to put them on the site. This would be something you're right. I should carry this RTB 780, I'm not. It's so easy to go get it from them. Yeah, someday if I get really big and this is like I just do this, maybe I'll be a one-stop shop, but I already have too many items for sale. Like it's already hard enough to manage it. And on that topic, I'm gonna get to this in the end. I bought a 3D printer that's right here next to me. You can't see it. That I've been obsessed with for the past week, and I'm working on what we're gonna talk about at the end, which is some really cool cases for Terraid and some other things. So yeah, really bummed. The bear claw, sick knife. The bear claw, if it is an affordable external knife, that's the one. People will tell me, no, try the Wiltshire this knife and try this knife. And the bear claw is just where it's at, I think. Okay, back to the show. Commercial breaks over. Okay, back to the Middle Fork. Okay, hi, I'm wondering if you can offer some advice. My crew finally drew a Middle Fork permit. We launched July 9th. I've got 6 boats and 16 people. I'm sorry it took me so long to get back to this. I've been gone for a couple of weeks. This would have been a great post to put on the Submarine Hole website. If you post there, it's easy for me to answer there in a public way that other people can read. If you want a quicker response than submitting for the show. I'm concerned about the water level. That's everybody is concerned about the water level, right? Everybody. I get it. I think I want to go back to something I said, and this is not what you're going to want to hear, and you're probably going to think I'm a jerk for saying it. If you can't handle low water, you probably shouldn't have applied for the permit to begin with. And I don't know what the level is going to be July 9th, in a couple days, but this is nature. It can be high, it can be low. That's not the worst thing that can happen in the Middle Fork if it's a little bit low, right? In July, I'm going to run a trip August 28th. If you're concerned about the July 9th water level, imagine me running a trip with 23 guests on August 28th. I'm not concerned. We have the skills to run the river very low. It can be done. If you don't have the skills to do that, I don't care because it doesn't affect me. But as the private boating world should be upset with you because you probably shouldn't have applied for the permit. Now, maybe you have the skills. Maybe I'm speaking out of turn, but like, I just think if anybody's applying for a Middle Fork permit at any time, they should be able to run it high. They should be able to run it low, and they shouldn't have to be concerned about the river level. What you should be concerned about are fires, landslides, rain, cold, injuries, evacuations. Those are real concerns. The water level is the water level. It's when you choose to go on a wild river, you are choosing to go a place that is unpredictable. You are choosing to go a place you don't know what the water level is going to be. You should know that going in. I'm making this point now because I know I can't affect anybody's decisions now, but next year, if those of you that apply for permits, you should know it's not just going to be like perfect. It's going to be imperfect. And that's part of the challenge of the trip. Sorry being a soapbox on this. I've answered so many Middle Fork questions lately, and it's an unpredictable place. So it's hard. I think people expect certainty, and it's not a certain place. And that's part of what choosing to do a trip there is being a part of uncertainty. Okay. It looks great now, but it's dropping. Would you advise that we run the boats empty on day 1 to fly people and gear to skip the first 20 miles, or just pack fairly light and have fun? I think this message is from like 10 days ago. Well, it turns out if we go back to the flow gauge, like, again, everybody's concerned about water levels, but then it rains. And guess what? July 9th, it's going to be 2.3 feet, it looks like, which is just a nice level. It's a very, very pleasant level. It's below average. See, this line here is average. It's normally like July 9th. It looks like 2.6 feet. Is that 2.6, 2.7? And you have 2.3 coming. And it's not even falling. It's not even falling as fast as the prediction shows. You'll probably actually have like 2.4. So I think all this worry about water levels, that's going to be low. It's going to be low. It might be low. It's not definitely going to be low. And this level that you have looks great. Like 2.3, 2.4 in the Middle Fork is a wonderful level. It's better than if it was 7 feet. If it was 7 feet, you probably couldn't go. It's too high. And it's better than like the all-time low, which is on that date. If you look on July 9th, it's 1.6 feet, which is also super doable. I could see if it's 1.6 feet, you being concerned. I could see that. But anything above 2 feet is fine. Again, I don't know who you are. I don't know how good of boaters you are. I don't know. I can't tell you. I don't know. I just know how good of a boater you are. So I can't. Maybe you should be concerned. Illustrating numbers, yeah, it's always dropping. And would you? I don't know. For me to advise you to run whether it's empty and fly people in and blah, 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 without knowing how much stuff you're bringing, your skill level, the team's ability level, how good your repair kit is, a million factors. I just can't give you advice on what to do here. I can tell you if you have the adequate skills as a team to run the Middle Fork, you should be fine. But again, without like knowing all of it, and then you could tell me, "Oh, I've done this river, I've done that river." I've had people tell me all the rivers they've done. I had a couple one time tell me I've done the South Fork of the Salmon and the Middle Fork 5 times, and all these rivers. They give me their resume, and I see them, and they're barely able to run Class 3. And so, even if you told me all the rivers you did, I still wouldn't be able to give you advice. So, unfortunately, when you applied for a permit, in my opinion, and I'm sorry I'm being harsh on this, but when you apply for the permit, you represented that you have the skills and the knowledge to go into Mother Nature and raft this wild river. And if you and somebody who has the skills, they can show up and put in, not even knowing if the river is 1.6 feet or 6 feet. Like, cool, I got this. I have the skills. We know what we're doing. But yeah, so unfortunately, these are very hard questions for me to answer, not knowing all the factors. You shouldn't know it's going to be imperfect. You shouldn't know it's going to be. I don't. You shouldn't. You should know it's going to be. Yeah, it's going to be imperfect. That's exactly it. Sorry, Willie Bum Bum, I couldn't read that. Yeah, it's nature. I mean, if you want predictable, the Rogue is way more predictable. It's damp controlled. It's going to be hot, but like a river like the Middle Fork is unpredictable. It's constantly changing. The weather's, I mean, the trip I just did, the storm changed and we were really cold for several days and it dumped rain on us. We prepared for it. We brought the stuff, whether it was the rain was in the forecast or not, we would have brought most of the same stuff anyway. We brought an extra fire pan and we brought some extra warm clothes, but going to do a river like the Middle Fork, you need to prepare for hot and cold, no matter what the forecast is, right? Sorry to be on such a soapbox today and be ranting about this, but I've answered these questions so many times in the past few days, and I don't have the answer for anybody. I can't tell you because it's Mother Nature. What I can tell you is you need to, on your own, have the skills to make decisions for your own group. You cannot look to somebody else to help you make these decisions. If you don't have the skills, in my opinion, and this is going to sound harsh again, you maybe shouldn't have applied for the permit. Okay, another one, Middle Fork water level. I saw your post out the Middle Fork looks awesome. We were actually putting on the 15th, a private from the top. Any beta on water levels, and should we expect a cold trip as well? Again, like this, I can't predict the weather. So I don't know what the weather is going to be on July 15th. That's 9 days from now. I can't predict the weather. So we'll get that one out of here. There's great, if you want to check levels, this is the best answer out there. I have some guesses, but I'm wrong all the time. I mean, so where are we at? Here June 15th. This let me come back to this. This graph predicts, and this graph's wrong all the time. It's gonna be like 2.1, it looks like. Yeah, but that could change. There could be a massive rainstorm coming in and you could have 3 feet again, right? So like I would say 2.1 is worst case scenario. 2.1 is a wonderful flow. If you have the skills, you'll have no problem launching from boundary. If you don't have the skills, I don't know, figure it out. Any beta on water levels? Yeah, I mean that's the only beta I have on water levels, just so everybody knows, is this. That's what I got. And you can extrapolate this to your best guess, knowing that like it's Mother Nature, and the weather is the weather. It's probably not going to rain much more in July, but it's possible. Okay. Accidents. Are there any good resources that break down incidents and accidents? Maybe I'm misremembering it, but I feel like the AW accident database used to have more information from paddlers. Now their accident reports seem to be just a copy and paste from local news story, which is completely unhelpful from a learning perspective. I think Charlie works really hard to get the answers. And I think, so first of answer, any good resources that break down incidents and accidents? The American Whitewater Database is the best, easily. Like that's just the one you should be using. They did change the layout before. So like when you go, let's open it up. Get rid of it. Let's open up the AW. So it used to AW database. So I don't know, when you go to it, it used to show the top 20 incidents. This page used to be better. It used to have factors and causes. And I thought it was it's a little more basic now and like less boring. If you look at the information here, this is a report from News Radio, right? That's all they have. And Charlie, who organizes this, let's go to just a random one here. Let's go to what's one that happened recently. Oh, is this the most recent? Because there was one on the white salmon that just happened. I don't see. Oh, here we go. Oh yeah, Yakima. No, there was one. This doesn't seem right, but the old one also showed the class of the river. This page is actually not the best anymore. I'm sure you can go through this search and find it, but let's just pick another one here. Let's see if this is also a news story. Another news story. I think Charlie is trying to get information, and when accidents happen, Charlie engages the people on Facebook and tries to get more details. I think people are just a little hesitant to give him enough details. And I think Charlie's been kind of getting a lot of flack because, if somebody dies on a river, Charlie will just like right then ask, give me the details. And that makes some people mad. They're like, hey, people want Charlie to chill out, but that's the time to get the information. So I think Charlie's trying to walk a fine line between being respectful of the victim and trying to gather information about the accident. I would say my favorite tool right now is ChatGPT for this. Just do this. Type, like, if you want to do some research of accidents, go through the American Whitewater Database and tell me about the main cause of rafting fatalities in class 3 or above. Okay, so I put that in ChatGPT, and this is an amazing use of AI. Like, it will just go through thousands of things and come up with generalizations. And I know a lot of people are like, "Oh, AI hallucinates. AI is not perfect." Okay, cool. I don't want to get into that, but I mean, for me, knowing what I know, like I've read a lot of these, this is usually a pretty good list, and you can see there's great information, and it does a great summary. I mean, I think, the big thing is flush drowning after falling out. That's literally just they fall out and they die. We can't ask them what happened. Cold water incapacitation, they fall out. The cold water causes some sort of cold water effect. High water, yep. Those three are all related, by the way. High water, cold water, and flush drowning are all related. Entrapments, equipment entrapment, sieves, logs, and the strainers, undercuts, I guess, are number 5. And you can just keep diving down. You can keep asking the questions and just dive and dive and dive and dive and dive. And here's like the number of accidents by type. And you can really dive into specifics. You can ask about kayaking and break it down by class. And you can, it's just really, you keep asking the questions. Like you read through this and you're like, oh, tell me more about this. Tell me more about that. You know, a good question is make a generalization about the dangers of one boat trips based on the AW accident database. Right? People are always telling me like one boat trips are fine. They don't have friends. They don't want to go with people. I bet if you read this right here, it would change your mind. And I don't even know what it says, but I'm pretty confident if you read what this says right here, it would change your opinion about one boat trips. And this is just ChatGPT going through the data. Here we go. I'm going to write a summary. A one boat trip is a significant and recurring risk factor because it eliminates immediate rescue capability when something goes wrong. The database identifies one boat trip as a contributing factor in 166 fatalities from 1975 to 2016, not 2026, 2016, making it one of the most frequently recorded accident factors. And it's a factor, not a cause. So like the one boat trip didn't cause the fatality. It was just a factor in the fatality. So like when the person drowned, that caused the fatality. Well, if they hadn't been on a one boat trip, that may not have happened. Right. So I would say your best source of accident reports is using AI to answer questions based on the raw data in the AW accident database. I was starting to, like, before AI was a thing, I had the whole database, a spreadsheet with the whole database on my laptop. When I was at airports and board, I was categorizing everything into my own thing to come up with some strong conclusions about safety. And then I was halfway through it. It was a very tedious task. And then AI came out and I'm like, oh, I can do it in a second and ask it questions. I mean, really, if you're on a drive, this is one thing you could do when you're driving. Just talk to AI if you have the ability to do it. My phone does it. And just keep asking the questions and it'll keep like, what about this? What about this? It'll go through the data and answer questions based on the data. And then if there's a certain accident you want to know more about, just ask AI. Like, is there more information about this specific fatality beyond what's in the AW database? It will go through all the news sources, blogs, whatever, and find more. So that's a long way of saying the best source is, I would say, analyzing the AW accident database with AI. Cool. That's the last question. I'm surprised a lot of you are still here after all my rants about the middle fork and how I can't predict the future and how you shouldn't apply for a permit unless you can handle a wide variety of levels, and you and your team can handle a wide variety of levels and conditions. That's just my opinion. I don't apply for private permits, so it doesn't affect me. I just see how it affects others. And I know me bringing this up makes people mad. I know, because people have told me, like, how dare you tell me I can't apply? I'm just telling you my opinion about that. And I know there's people out there that are very skilled boaters, very experienced boaters, have all the right equipment, have all the right safety procedures, can handle a wide variety of levels, and they can't get a permit. And so I don't know. I just think that, and I'm getting way too many questions about what's the level going to be? What's the weather going to be? Should I deadhead? Should we deadhead? Should we? And unfortunately, I can't answer those questions for a lot of you. You kind of have to have gone into the process being able to answer those on your own. Okay. But if you do want to answer questions, one of the best ways to do it, and not just me, other people, is use this new submarine hull website. This is the most likely place under Middle Fork Salmon. I'm going to answer questions, and other people can as well. This is going to be your best bet. Nobody's asked a question yet. It's a blank slate. So we're there. Okay. The last thing I want to talk about are these terrate containers. And this has been my obsession for a while. How do we store terrate on the river? And so for those of you that don't know or do know, terrate is the stuff. It comes in a roll. It's a sticker. It is such an easy way to repair rafts. It is amazing. You just throw a sticker on. Back in the day, you pull over, you dry it out, you clean it with toluene, and then you scratch, you cut the patch, and you do all the stuff, and then You sandpaper both sides and put toluene on it again, and then put glue on the patch and the thing, and then another layer on the thing, and put them together, wait a couple hours. And even then it wasn't dry, but you had to keep going. It was a whole thing. It was huge. I've done it many times on rivers, and when you tear a boat, it changes the dynamic of the trip dramatically. Then Terry came out, and this is just a sticker. You throw it on, and some of you have seen the video. I've done a patch on like something this big, doing the inside we use Tyvek tape, which works too, and then tear it on the outside. It really is magic, and you want to have a lot of it. This is a pretty solid roll. Like, that's a lot of it. You can see this is probably 2 packages of it, because you can also use it to repair tents, Gore-Tex jackets. I don't know. And if you pop 5 boats, that's enough. Or if you put terry on and it pops off because you did a bad job, you have more to put on. So I like to bring a lot of terry. The problem with terry is storage. And I've seen it comes in this big box, right? And what people do is they just put this big box bag or something, and like, I got terry, I'm good to go, right? Well, you see this box, I've seen this many times, like 5 years later, it's all bent and crumpled and wet, and you go to open it up, and it looks something like this or worse. You can see how this is just sort of like a little bit deformed. I can tell, you probably can't tell. It's just been folded somewhere. And then when you go to use this, because of the folds, it doesn't stick as well. It's not as clean. And so I've been obsessed with containers for terry for quite a while. So much so that my first solution were these things that I bought from Uline. Uline, they sell boxes and things. I bought a bunch of these, and I put terry in them, and I would cut them. And then this was terry storage. This was my solution for many years. That's a great solution. And people would always ask me, "Hey, Zach, can I buy these from you?" And I just wasn't set up to sell this thing one at a time to people. I had to cut them, and like, I don't know, it's a huge pain. Even though I have a retail store, I could, and maybe I should actually do that. But I have a better solution. And they only make this size, so it has to be kind of big, or you have to get some scissors out and cut it. I've noticed lately, because I started doing this like 5 years ago, that these things over time, these little containers, when they're stuffed in a box or something, you do this to them a bunch, and they start getting, do that over 5 years, and they just start cracking. And a bunch of these of ours are cracked. And so I was like, I'm annoyed. I have to buy 50 more of these, and then cutting them all takes a long time. And so I've been 3D printing what I think is the ideal terried container. And so a little bit of my journey is I first found this. Those of you that know how 3D printers work, you just it's right there. I press some buttons, and computers do things, and it takes like 4 hours, and it prints this plastic thing. And you can buy things ahead of time. Like somebody else designed this. I just found this design online. I printed it. This design works great. You can go get your 3D printer if you have one. Boom. Sorry, I didn't see that. I found the size. You can put your terry in there. Put the cap on, and you have a nice storage container for terry. Look at that. Beautiful. Now, you may not know terry's in here, so you might have to label it or something. But you might know. But I am somebody who likes aesthetics and cool things. This is definitely an improvement, but I want something better. So I've spent the last few days testing and modeling a new terry container. And I made one that I just gave to somebody. So the full size one, this is like a prototype. This is the one I'm working on right now with a screw off lid and this fancy knurling, which helps, that's the texture on the outside, and it comes off, and terry is going to fit nicely in here. So I'm working on this. It's a mini obsession of mine. I put a River Hardware logo on this one. You can see that. Kind of cool, huh? The white stuff's because I made a mistake. But the coolest thing I just did was I was able to figure out how to print the logo. It's actually like part of the thing. It's like not even printed on there. It's actually like I have a 2-color printer. So like printed, went backward in the material a bit. So I'm going to put this little logos on there because I like River Hardware. And I'm thinking about selling these on River Hardware website. So the question I have for all of you is like, is this something you're like, yeah, that's cool, sell them? Or you're like, no, that's stupid. I can just find one of these or whatever, and I'm fine. But if there's interest in it, leave a comment, and I'll put a lot of time into it. I'm going to make these for our trips, my company. But if there's enough of an interest, I'll take the time to just like flush out some details. I have to go create I have to do all the work to get it for sale online. But yeah, send me a note if you think these are cool. I think they're really cool. It's been a really fun project for me. And I'll probably start designing more things and printing more things that people need for rafting. I love solving problems. I love personally like things that like this. This is a problem I've been trying to fix forever. I want to fix this problem. And as I look around, there's more and more problems. One of the things a lot of you know I sell are these nozzles. I don't print these. I just got this printer last week because I'm into it. Somebody else prints them. He'll keep printing them. I don't need to put them out of, he designed it. He sells them to me. He's really good at printing. And so I'll keep selling these 3D printed nozzles for these blower adapters. So I won't print those. But if you think of other things that are easy, because I'm not like, the guy who does these is very good at it. Things like these containers, let me know and I'll start making them and selling them. So that's, I think it for the show. A couple of comments. Craig says sell them. Yeah, cool. That's good to hear. Yeah. Oh, well, I think so. I'll make them. What I want to do is do a different color. So I'm gonna get some new filament, do a different color. Then Bryson says, I cannot speak loudly enough to the value of knowing who you're boating with and establishing a crew where everyone knows strengths and weaknesses. We did a 5-day subway trip June 9th, and besides a scouting injury and a lost oarlock, a double drop, we had an incredible trip. Know your crew, layer the Swiss cheese slices to safeguard unexpected, unplanned events. Boating can be scary without the right crew. Without the right crew. If you can't trust your crew, why are you going? Yeah, thanks for saying that. I firmly believe that's the case. Very much so. I'm very selective who I boat with. And I think in some of the comments I made earlier about the Middle Fork, I think people are worrying about the wrong things sometimes. They're worried about low water and weather, things that are beyond their control. I think having the right people with you, to me, is like the thing you do control. And if everything is good and easy, it doesn't matter. But when it gets cold, adversity happens, somebody gets hurt, it really is about who you're with and whether or not you trust them and their abilities. And so thank you for sharing that comment. I think that's a good comment. That like it matters a lot. And I think what happens a lot, and this is the part I can't control, is that people, want to boat more. They want to go. They're like excited, enthused. I'm a boater. I love doing this. I own a boat and I own a sprinter van to pull it. And I have a trailer and I have a warehouse full of stuff, but they don't have a team to go with. And so they just tag along with whoever they can. It's fine. I've done that before too, here and there. But this really is, in my opinion, whitewater boating is a team sport. Going back to even that, like what we saw on the ChatGPT thing, how many injuries there are with one boat trips, how many fatalities there are with one boat trips. It's really is a team sport. And you have to have your crew and have the trust and go boating with them. If you just boat once or twice a year and it's just overnight trips, I don't think you're developing a team and you're not developing your skills. Like the boaters I know are doing day trips and taking their weekends and going paddling. And I know a lot of you can't do that and you still want to do overnight trips. I'm not like putting that down. I'm just saying, like, I think there's a lot of people who've dedicated a lot of their time and energy into like building their team, building their skill set, developing their safety skills, developing their first aid skills. And I think that's all an important part of this holistic package of boating, beyond just like I have a raft and a frame and a cooler and a permit. I think there's a lot more to the whole package of boating. Hopefully that makes sense. And I feel like I'm on a lot of soapboxes today. I need to stop. But anyway, Bryson, thank you for the thoughtful comment, and I agree with you. So that's it. Thanks for watching the show. I will probably do a show next week. We'll probably do a show next Tuesday, or next Monday or Tuesday. So if you have questions, and please take a second and check out that Submarine Hole website and think about a comment. Just think about it, because I think it's a good place for some good discussions to happen. All right, thanks for watching.